get that your life is going to get better once your perception gets better. So tonight I was reading Psycho Cybernetics. Actually, I am still reading this. Okay. I told you guys that this is such a phenomenal read. It is really, really a good book. Okay. And one of the things that it talks about is self acceptance, right? And it's so funny because if you are a person, I remember back in my heyday, right? Everything needed to be perfect in order for me to create this. Like I had this illusion, right? Living superficial, everything was based upon what I had. Um, what else? Like everything needed to be in its place, everything needed to be perfect, pretty much a control freak. And one of the things that I noticed was it came to a point in time in my life where as though I knew that this was not life. I knew that, you know, trying to control everything, every aspect of my life, trying to control my children, trying to control, pretty much everything. It was so frustrating. Okay. It was so frustrating. So to the person that's out there, self acceptance. Okay. Many times people don't accept themselves because they have created um, this fictitious persona, right? This fake person, like myself back then, right? Everything had to be perfect. And so you act a certain way when you are with yourself. But I mean, when you with people, but when you are with yourself, it's completely different. It's completely different. It's like, you have all these different personas, and a persona is pretty much like you had created these things, these images, these different personalities, is so you could pretty much protect yourself, right? Um, and it comes a point in time where so you see that don't work, right? And that's what I needed to see. I needed to see like this image that I had created for the outside world. It was not working. Worrying about what people thought of me, worrying about how they felt about me. And none of that was doing anything for me. Okay. It wasn't doing nothing for me. Okay. And I needed to see that, you know what? This is not really helping me. Okay. And this is what you're gonna have to see. You are going to have to see that this image that you have created, this persona, this fake person, this fake identity, all right? This illusion that you try to keep up each and every day for the outside world, it is so frustrating. Okay, you are going to be frustrated. Is going to seem like you are just trapped in this box, right? And it's no freedom. I remember hearing my mentor Bob Proctor say this. He said he was quoting somebody, like this poem. If I want to be free, I have to be me. Not the me that my wife and kids think I should be. Not the me that you think I should be, but the me that I was created to be. And I don't know about the next person. Okay. But when I first heard that, it spoke so many volumes because if you are concerned about how other people perceive you to be, or you don't accept yourself because somebody along the line had told you that you was a screw up, you was a good for nothing. Let me tell you something, okay? You could keep on living that way, or you can start taking your power back and say, I know I was created in God's image. Okay, because the truth of the matter is you was created in God's image. All right, now let's get into this. I'm excited. Okay, I'm very excited. Now, let's talk about this. Okay, now which page was there? Oh, okay. So before we get further deep into that, let's talk about this. The picture of failure. Again, I have found now I am reading from Maxwell Mode, Psycho Cybernetics book. Okay. Such a phenomenal read. And it says this, the picture of failure. Again, I have found that patients could remember these negative feedback signals, or what I call the failure mechanism. When they associate them with the letters that make up the word failure, they are, if you feel like a failure, listen to this. Okay, this is an acronym. Failure, frustration, hopelessness, okay, aggressiveness, misdirected, insecurity, loneliness, lack of oneness, uncertainty, resentment, emptiness. Okay. Understanding brings cure. No one sits down and deliberately, with malice, a forethought decides to develop these negative traits just to be perverse. They do not just happen, nor are they an indication of the imperfection of human nature. Each of these negatives was originally adopted as a way to solve a difficulty or a problem. We adopt them because we mistakenly see them as a way out of some difficulty. They have meaning and purpose, although based on a mistaken premise. They constitute a way of life for us. Remember, one of the strongest urges in human nature is to react appropriately. We can cure these failure symptoms not by willpower, but by understanding, by being able to see that they do not work and that they are inappropriate. Okay? The truth can set you free from them. And when we see the truth, then the same instinctive forces that cause us to adopt them in the first place will work in our behalf and eradicating them. Okay. Frustration. Frustration is an emotional feeling that develops when some important goal cannot be realized or when some strong desire is thwarted. All of us must necessarily suffer some frustration by the very fact of human being and therefore imperfect, incomplete, unfinished. As we grow older, we should learn that all desires cannot be satisfied immediately. We also learned that our doing can never be as good as our intentions. We also learned to accept the fact that perfection is neither necessary nor required. Okay, so this is to the people that's out there, right? You know, you have this desire, right? Whatever it is. Okay, you say for instance, you want to open up a business. I always go back to that analysis because I remember when I first opened up my business, it was a clothing line. All right. And the name of the clothing line, the name of the business was Universally Fit. Okay. And I remember when I first opened up the business. Now, I don't do much with that business now. And to me, it was really about believing in myself enough to know that I can do this. All right. I had went to this program. It's called Rising Tide Capital. It was like for 12 weeks. You get a certificate, okay, and a great community. They teach you about business. They teach you about business. They teach you about the books, right? Like the income from the business and everything. So it was really, really a great experience. And I remember after that, I said, you know what? I'm gonna open a business called Universally Fit. And I am going to have like a workout line, right? Clothes, like fitness clothes and stuff like that. I ordered clothes from Alibaba Express. Okay. And I remember the day when I was going to open a business, I was first of all, when I opened it, I was in so much, it was a little fear there. But it wasn't as much fear as it was when I was going to open up the account for the business. Okay, so I remember I went to Chase Bank. You know, I was a little afraid. I had went on live. A lot of things I would do on live on Facebook Live, like a lot of the challenges, because I wanted people to see that if I'm able to do it, that they are able to do it as well. Okay, and it was also like a crutch. Okay, all right. And so I went and opened the business. Everything worked out well. I was a little afraid, but that did not stop anything. The problem with you is this. You so much in your head that you cancel yourself out before you get started. Okay. You so much in your head that you don't even take the next step. All day you get downloads. Okay. And let me tell you something about money. Money is an idea. Some people say, no, this is money, right? The green paper or whatever. No, money is an idea. You have this idea and you think because it's so simple, you don't move on it. Okay. It's a simple idea that you was given and you're like, oh, well, no, it should be a bigger idea. I'm not going to move on this. This don't make sense. And that's why you're not where you desire to be, because you don't move on those ideas that God is giving you. God has given you many ideas. You don't move on. And you know what's so crazy? Because it's somebody else that have that same exact idea, and guess what? They move on it. They don't have all the answers. They don't know how it's going to turn out. They don't know where the money is going to come from. But guess what? They move on the idea. You know why? Because they have faith and they believe in themselves. And you got to ask yourself, what makes them different? Okay. Far as they accomplish their goals and you don't accomplish yours. They accomplish their desires and you don't accomplish yours. What makes them different is that they believe. They believe. Okay, even though they are a little afraid, okay, because they doing something they never done before. They believe, they know things are going to work out. They don't know exactly how, okay, they don't have all the answers, but they believe. And you're no different. You are no different, okay, no different. And so that was something that I did. And now, it's so many people that they go through life and they look at life and they say, oh my goodness, how would my life have been if I would have moved on the idea that I was given? How would your life have turned out, friend? If you would have accepted that idea and moved on it. You may fry the best chicken, okay? I mean, the chicken is better than, I don't know who has the best chicken now, but your chicken is so good. You fry, but you cancel yourself out, and you say, and you know what's so funny? Because you have friends and relatives that always are talking about your cooking. They always talking about your cooking, and you had got a download to open up a restaurant, and you just canceled yourself out. You said, no, you can't do it. You didn't graduate high school. You didn't finish school. Why would a person like you be able to do this? How could a person like you be able to do this? And you give all these excuses, and you only need one reason to win, friend. One reason to show up. One reason is because God put that in your heart for you to do it. And it's for you to show up. Okay. Some of you guys, you're supposed to be a coach. You're supposed to coach people and you don't do it because you cancel yourself out. You tell yourself you're not smart enough. You tell yourself that you don't have all the accolades, that other people are way smarter than you. You compare yourself to other people, not realizing that your journey is one of a kind, shapely divine, and you cancel yourself out. And you do this on and on and on. Some of you guys, you make so many excuses. Oh, I gotta work. I can't do this. I gotta work these hours and stuff like that. But let me tell you something, my love. If you say, I see myself adding this job within a year or so, and you are putting all your attention and focus onto that job, guess what? A year from now, you will probably most likely still be at that job. Because although you at that job, you can still create the thing that you was created to do. I always go back to Aaron Doughty. Oh my goodness, shout out to Aaron Doughty. He's another YouTuber, phenomenal YouTuber. And I remember listening to Aaron Doughty. And one of the things he said was he worked at Barney's Women's and Shoes. He always tell that story. And one of the things he said was that when he decided to go full time on YouTube. Okay, first of all, Aaron Doughty, he was working at Barney's, I believe, before, and then I think he quit, or he was working somewhere and then he quit. And he did YouTube, and then he went back to the job. Okay, later on, he went back to the job, and then he was working at Barney's and stuff like that. And he said that every night, working 40 hours, okay, working 40 hours a week, but every night he made a video. He made a YouTube video every night, and he would recommend books like this. Okay, he would recommend books like this. What's the white stuff in my hair? My hair? What? What you mean? What's the white? My hair, child. Okay. So anywho, but you have to just see like how bad you want it. You get what I'm saying? Like, do you really want it? Because it's so many people. Guess what? It's so many people that says they have a desire to become successful. They have a desire to be financially free. They have like all these desires, but they don't move on it and they don't act on it. Okay. And if it was so easy, guess what? So many people would be doing it. So many people would be doing it. And so for you to say, oh, well, I gotta work. You know what, Dina? I don't have time to upload videos, or I don't have time to, do this or whatever. Isn't it funny? You say you don't have time to upload videos, or you don't have time to study, right? You don't have time to do all these different things. Isn't that funny? But you make time for other things. No. Let's call a thing, my love. It's not that you don't have time to study or anything like that. You're just not disciplined. You see how easy that is when we call a thing? Because if we acknowledge, okay, you're just not disciplined, guess what? Then you can acknowledge that and say, you know what? I realize I'm not disciplined. I need to be more focused. I need to be more disciplined. And I'm going to write my goals down. Okay. I'm going to write my goals down, the things that I need to do throughout the day. So that way I can stay focused. And before I go to bed, all right, I want to make sure that my goals, most of my goals, all my goals that's on this list, I accomplish them. That's going to help you stay focused. If you want it bad enough, it'll help you stay focused. But self-acceptance. Let's talk about it. Honey, I'm trying to find a page. Ooh, let's talk about self-criticism. Okay? Self-criticism, conscious self-criticism makes you do worse. Okay? Now, written in a British scientific journal, Nature, Dr. E. Colin Cherry stated his belief that stuttering was caused by excessive monitoring. So if you stutter, okay, to test his theory, he equipped 25 severe stutterers with earphones through which a loud tone drowned out the sound of their own voices. When they were asked to read aloud from a prepared text under these conditions, which eliminated self-criticism, the improvement was remarkable. Another group of severe stutterers was trained in shadow talk to follow as closely as possible and attempt to talk with a person reading from a text or a voice or radio or TV. After brief practice, the stutterers learned to shadow talk easily. And most of them were able to speak normally and correctly under these conditions, which advanced criticism and literally forced them to speak spontaneously, speaking and correcting. Additional practice and shadow talk enabled the stutterers to learn how to speak correctly at all times. When excessive negative feedback or self criticism was eliminated, disappeared, and performance improved. When there was no time for worry or too much carefulness in advance, expression immediately improved. This gives us a valuable clue as to how many disinhabit or release a locked up personality and improve performance in other areas. Okay. So to the ones you know how and that's another thing. You in your head too much. Okay, that's another thing. Cause it sort of put emphasis on this. You too careful, you know, like you don't want to make a mistake. If you are a person that's like you so careful, oh, I don't want to make a mistake, you know, I can't do this. Like, guess what? You're going to make a mistake. And let me tell you something, welcome the mistakes, welcome the failure. I want you to welcome the mistakes and welcome the failure, because it's the failures that you are going to learn from. Remember this, failure is not a person, it's an event. And it's the failures. You will learn more from your failures than your successes. Okay, so welcome the failures. You are going to screw up. You are going to get it wrong. You are going to, it is going to fall all apart, you know, at times, but that is okay. What's preventing you from accomplishing the things that you say you truly desire to accomplish is you have this perfectionist going on. Oh, I got to be a perfectionist. You know, everything has to be just so perfectly, whatever. And that is not real. That is not a real world. That is not a real world. I remember I was listening to Bashar Daru. And Daru, he pretty much channels and Bashar just the same exact way Abraham Hicks do. And I remember I was listening to him, and it was this lady who asked a question to Bashar, and her question was, you know, she's very passionate. She want to do videos, right? She want to do social media, but she's so afraid of other people's perception of her, and she don't know what to do. And one of the things Bashar said was this. He said, so you're selfish. You're selfish. You so concerned about other people's perception of you as opposed to delivering a message that you're supposed to deliver. You so much in your head and got all the chatter going on in your head as opposed of delivering a message that was put in your heart to deliver. Don't you know, when you get started, I remember, you know, it was people who said, oh, your voice, you know, like this guy I had relations with. I remember he was like, you know, your voice, like, do you hear the way you talk? Right. And I couldn't allow that to stop me from making videos. You think I was going to listen to this guy? Okay. You think I was going to listen to this dude? No, you can't listen to people that's telling you why you can't. You know, they have so many reasons on why you can't do it. So many reasons. And last time I checked, you only need one reason why you can. And you listening to all the reasons of why and God said you can. And you saying, oh, well, they told me I can't do this and I can't. I don't care what they told you couldn't do. Do it anyway. I don't care if you don't have all the answers. Still show up. I don't care if it don't make sense. The things that you're doing today, it definitely don't make sense, but you still do them. The things that you do today, it don't make sense and is not producing a life that you desire to have, but you still do them. And you're saying, when somebody tell you to do something other than what you've been doing for so long, you're saying, oh, that don't make sense. Come again. It don't make sense. But what you've been doing, it definitely don't make sense. And you saying, oh, that don't make sense. I recommend books every time I'm on here. Every time I'm on here. Psycho-Cybernetic. Every time I'm on here, I'm recommending books. And you know what? I highly doubt it. Probably one to know one person probably on the live will get the book. Or probably none of you guys will get it. And then you wonder why your life is the same. You wonder why every year is the same exact way for you. You wonder why, that you still at that job. You wonder. And the reason being is because you keep doing the same exact thing. Hoping, lucking, praying, honey, get off your knees, okay? You've been praying, saying the same exact prayer, okay? But you still doing the same exact thing. God not finna help you. God is waiting for you to come to your senses. God is looking like, oh my goodness, don't they know that's not gonna work? You here violating universal laws and you still praying. You still praying and you violating universal laws. You don't believe in yourself. It's like you want to be successful, but you don't believe in yourself. How is that going to work? That's not going to work because it's contradiction. And not only that, you got static going on within you. That's why you don't show up for yourself. And you refuse to renew your mind. You refuse to do that. You refuse to study. You refuse to do those things. You're like, you know what? Let me just let my life just change. Once my life changed, then I change. And that's that, honey, you got it all backwards. You got to change first, and then your life will change. Okay? You got to change first, and then your life will change. Listen to this. When you become too consciously concerned about what others think, when you become too careful to consciously try to please other people, when you become too sensitive to the real disapproval of other people, then you have excessive negative feedback and poor performance. Okay? Whenever you constantly and consciously monitor your every act, word, or mannerism, again, you become self-conscious. You become too careful to make a good impression. I remember listening to Bob Proctor, and one of the things he said was, when people are public speaking, when they doing, giving speaking engagements or whatever, he said, instead of them focusing on a crowd, instead of them focusing on a message that they ought to deliver, they so focused on themselves. They so focused on, am I going to say this right? Or, how is the audience going to perceive me? Like, you so focused on yourself. And you're not even there for yourself. You're there to give a message to the audience. Last time I checked. I can't be so focused on myself as though I don't show up. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh well, you know what? I got stuff going on. I'm not gonna show up tonight. I got to download for me to do a live video. That's why I'm here. You gotta have this attitude like you just don't give a damn. That's the type of attitude you have to have. Like, you just don't care. Because you've been caring so much, and guess where has that gotten you? You've been caring big time, over caring. And where has that gotten you? Nowhere. But in a box. In a box, walking on eggshells. Can't do this for the fear of other people's opinion of you. And when people see you, they don't see you. When people see you, you may say, oh, they see me. No, they don't see you. They see themselves. They see themselves. I always like going back to the beginning of this book, Psycho-Cybernetics. I love this part, especially the beginning, Matt's story. Because it's such a good read. It like every time I read it, I keep on rereading it, and rereading it because it's such a good story. Such a good story. It has so many examples in here. It's not even funny. Okay. Well, let's talk about Lucky Prescott. Okay. One of the earliest and most convincing experiments along this line was conducted by the late Prescott Lucky, one of the pioneers in self-image psychology. Lucky conceived of the personality as a system of ideas, all of which must seem to be consistent with one another. Ideas that are inconsistent with the system are rejected, not believed, and not acted on. Ideas that seem to be consistent with the system are accepted. At the very center of this system of ideas, the keystone, the base upon which all else is built, is the individual's ego idea, his self-image, or his conception of himself. Lucky was a school teacher and had an opportunity to test his theory on thousands of students. Lucky theorized that if a student had trouble learning a certain subject, it could be because, from the student's point of view, it would be inconsistent for him to learn it. Lucky believes, however, that if you could change the student's self-conception, which underlies this viewpoint, his attitude towards the subject would change accordingly. If the student could be induced to change his self-definition, his learning ability should also change. This proved to be the case. One student who misspelled, listen to this, because when I first read this, I was like, oh my goodness, okay. This proved to be the case. One student who misspelled 55 words out of 100 and flunked. You trying to tell me that there's no hope for you? You trying to tell me that you can't change your life? You trying to tell me that the hand that you felt that you was dealt, you cannot create another hand for yourself? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can change your life. You can, and you will, and you must. Okay, listen. Who misspelled 55 words out of 100 and flunked so many subjects that he lost credit for a year, listen to this. This student misspelled 55 words out of 100. He became one of the best spellers. You hear what I'm saying? He became one of the best spellers in the school. Not in his class. Honey, they said in the school. Okay, and made a general average of 91 in the next year. A boy who was dropped from one college because of poor grades entered into Columbia and became a straight A student. A girl who has flunked Latin 4 times after 3 talks with the school counselor finished with a grade of 84. A boy who was told by a testing bureau that he had no aptitude for English won honorable mention for the next year for a prize. The trouble with these students was not that they were dumb or lacking in basic aptitudes. The trouble was an inadequate self-image. I don't have a mathematical mind. I'm just naturally a poor speller. They identified with their mistakes and failures instead of saying, I failed that test. Factual and descriptive. They concluded, I'm a failure instead of saying, I flunked that subject. They said, I am a flunk out. For those, and then it goes on, for those who are interested in learning more about Lucky's work, I recommend securing a copy of this book, Self-Consistency. Okay, now the book is out of print, of course. All right. But this was so good. So good. And to the ones that's out there that's like, you never could change your life. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You know what's wrong with it though? This is what's wrong with it. This is right here what's wrong with why you keep getting the same exact results. Okay. This is why right here. Because instead of you looking at all the times that you succeeded, you keep on focusing on the times that you lost. All the times that you failed. You're not dumb. Okay? You're not dumb. You're not slow. You're not a reject. You're not none of those things. But you keep on telling yourself you those. You keep on telling yourself you those things. And you know what also you do? What you do is you go back, right, in your records, okay? All the times that you failed at whatever it was, all the times that you failed at test, all the times that you got something wrong, and you keep on laying it on yourself, meaning you got this notion going on with yourself that you can't do this right, you can't do that right. Most likely somebody when you was younger had convinced you of that, okay? Because the way they seen themselves, and they convinced you, so they passed the poison down to you, okay? And what they did was when you went to school or wherever you went, okay, you had that going on within you. And your DNA, that you're a failure, you're a reject, you stupid, you slow. You had that going on within you. And so you want to be right, okay? If somebody say you a dummy, you can't learn, then you carry that with you and you tell yourself that you can't learn. Or you ever listen to some people conversations? Like they say it's hard for them to learn. You never heard people say that it's hard for them to learn, it's hard for them to get it. That's because somebody has convinced them that. And then they walk around putting spells on themselves each and every day. It's hard for them to learn, it's hard for them to get it. They don't understand it, they are slow learner. They say all this stuff about themselves. And they walk around with it. And so when they take a test or something and they fail because they want to be right, the ego, want to be right, when they take the test, it's like what they say, I knew I was going to fail. Well, if you knew you was going to fail, why did you take the test? But that's what they say. They say it. They put a curse, they put spells on themselves each and every day. They knew they was going to fail. That's what they say. I knew I was going to fail. I knew I wasn't going to get that job. You ever heard somebody say some of these things? You hear people say this all the time. It's because before they went to their job, before they got to their job, they was programming themselves. They knew they wasn't going to get the job. It become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They knew they wasn't going to get the job. And guess what? When they go to the job, it's just, they do everything that prevents them from getting a job. And then when they leave, they say, they knew they wasn't going to get the job because they want to be right. You're going to have to change your mindset, my love. You're going to have to change it. Because as long as you keep that self-chatter going on within your mind, subconsciously, okay? It's subconsciously, majority of the time, you don't even know why you do the thing you do. You just do it throughout the day. Don't even know you're on autopilot. Don't even know. You don't know why you fuss all day. Because the reason why you fuss all day is because you don't really care for where you currently are. The reason why you want to control every aspect, okay, everything like in your household, when you come home, you want to control everything. Oh, this needs to be here. This needs to be there. Everything needs to be in this place. The reason why you're like that, okay, is because the inside, okay, with what you got going on in the inside is so out of order. And so you want to control the outside of things. Because the inside is so out of control, right? And to control is to be out of control. to control every aspect, try to control everybody and people and stuff, is to be out of control. I remember one night I was saying, I was meditating, right? And it was pertaining to my oldest son. Cause oh my goodness, my oldest son, he would definitely give me a run for my money. And I guess it was just him putting up a fight of, you know, like, you can't control me. Like, you can't control me. He wasn't saying it, you know, verbally, but he definitely was making a statement. And I remember one night he had snuck out of the house. Okay. He probably was about like 13 or 14 or something. And he snuck out of the house. And I remember I was so furious. And I locked the door. And I meditated, and I just meditated. It was like, I think it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I meditated. And I put out, why do I go through this? And my meditation session, what came back to me was control. Control. You going through this because you are trying to control him. So when I tell you, when you ask those questions, oh, you'll get a response back. It may not be the response that you're looking for, but if you be still and you listen, you'll get a response back. Certain decisions our children make, right, as parents, you know, it's like at times we can be helicopter parents, you know. We want the best for them and everything like that, so much so that we stop them from getting certain lessons that they need to get. Or we try to prevent them from getting certain lessons that they need to get. And then that's when we become frustrated. So this is why everything in your life keep on reoccurring and you keep on getting the same exact results. This is why right here. Okay, so that's what I did. And soon I began to see exactly why I felt like a failure and how this poor self-image was indeed holding me back in my business. In short, I felt like a failure because I was reliving my disappointments, okay, my losses, my setbacks, my failures. Each day when I felt badly about myself, it was as if I rubbed my face in manure. So each day that he felt bad about himself, right? We're talking about Matt from Psycho-Cybernetics. Each day Matt felt bad about himself, right? What he would do was go down memory lane, look at all the times that he failed, right? Look at all the times he felt those emotions, and guess what? He was reliving it all over again. All over again. And listen to what he said. It was as if, all right, when I felt badly about myself, it was as if I rubbed my face in manure of bad memories instead of showering my face with clear water memories of what I've done well. Here's a snapshot of what I would say to myself. Yes, you achieved. Yes, I achieved gold to wrestle at Iowa and be coached by Dan Gable, but I was in varsity, man. So it was like, you know, all the successes that he had achieved, right? All the accomplishments he had achieved, that wasn't good enough. He kept going backwards. He kept going backwards and saying, yeah, I achieved this, but a conjunction, right? But yeah, you achieved that, but look at all the other things that you messed up on. And he kept reliving it. So how you gonna get ahead if you keep on living in the past? You're not going to be able to get ahead. Because you keep on focusing about the times where as though you messed up. And this is also what he says. Yes, I achieved my goal to wrestle at Iowa, right? But he telling himself, that wasn't good enough. Yeah, you achieved that goal and stuff like that, but honey, that ain't good enough. All right, you look at all the times you failed, right? That's what he got going on, playing in his subconscious mind. He got this going on. And you got this stuff going on too, playing in your subconscious mind. Yes, I achieved this. And yes, I was phenomenal at this. And yes, I hit this goal. And yes, I graduated. And yes, I became number one in this. And all of these things, all these accolades, all these things, these terrific, amazing things you have done. But somewhere you just keep going back to the past of the failures, the times you didn't succeed. You can't change that. That has happened, and it has occurred already. But you know what you can change? You can change your future. And you change your future by looking back and saying, oh my goodness, all the successes I have accomplished, all the many things that I put my mind to and I achieved. I actually achieved those things. And you keep on focusing on that. But let Matt tell you, okay? Let Matt tell you. So he says, yes, I got a full ride at Edinburgh and won a national title. Look at all the many things he done. Look, this is so crazy how this thing plays out, right? The subconscious mind, like those belief systems, those patterns. This is so crazy. Not only was he was coached by Dan Gable. Okay. Dan Gable is like, I want to say like once upon a time, probably number one in a coach in the wrestling field. Okay. But look, he was coached by Dan Gable. That's why, right? He got a full ride to Edinburgh, the college too. Okay. Now, what else? And he didn't. Okay, so Edinburgh and won a national title. He won a national title. But then he go back and say, and won a national title, but I didn't win a division. You see how you beat yourself up? But I didn't win a Division I national title, and I didn't win a Division II title as a senior. But look at all the accomplishments. Look at all the accomplishments he has accomplished, but he keep going back to what he didn't do well. Listen to what he says. Yes, I set a single session victory mark, but I didn't win all my matches. Even though I achieved something that almost all athletes who take up any sport will never achieve, I thought I was a failure because I didn't win everything. Moreover, I didn't realize that having goals, right? Because I say having goals and personal development. But one of the things he says in his book is that ain't enough. That's not enough. Okay? That is not enough. Just having goals and positive thinking aren't enough. No one had ever told me about the self-image. Despite my learning self-hypnosis, which I thought would help psych me up, no one ever taught me to go back into the past and relive my best memories. I was never taught to picture what I wanted, let alone to feel I could have it, and I did have it. I was carrying these feelings of failure in my bones and into my business and everything I did. Once again, I was setting goals for myself. I truly wanted to succeed. At the same time, I doubted whether or not I was good enough to train people. After all, I was I? I wasn't a world champion or an Olympic champion. I was just a one-time national champion. This is what he got going on in his subconscious mind. As I developed psycho-cybernetics, I discovered and experienced when I what I needed to be doing on a daily basis. It was something I had never done before. I was enter this place. I was to enter this place that Dr. Moats called the theater of the mind. I close my eyes, then remember and relive my best moments, seeing them play out like a mental movie. My victories, my successes, my happiest times. After reliving and re experiencing myself at my best, I was able to flip a switch and use my imagination in the same way I use my memory. I could imagine and feel that I was achieving a goal in the future, but experience it as if it was happening now, almost as if it was the memory of another accomplished goal. Once I mastered this technique, everything began to change for me instantly. And yes, I do mean instantly. I felt good. I felt happy, felt successful. I felt like a winner. It was an odd sensation. Intellectually, it made no sense. How could I be happy now? How could I feel successful now? How could I feel like a winner now? Didn't I have to achieve those goals in order to feel good or to be happy? And what about all the failures? Were they simply forgotten? Wasn't I supposed to feel bad forever for not achieving everything I set out to do? Okay. Such a phenomenal read. Such a phenomenal read. This is where psycho-cybernetics cannot be understood by passively reading. This is where it cannot be understood by analysts, argument, debating, or intellectualizing. You must experience the reality of it in order to truly know the truth. The mere reading of words will not show you or give you the experience of truth. Since that glorious day in May of 1987, I achieved a lot. The list of achievements, accomplishments, and victories that I can recall is quite long. In the short term, I built a successful personal fitness business. Then in 1997, at 34 years of age, I won a world championship in Kung Fu in Beijing, China, beating the Chinese at their own game, something no other American had ever done. Since then, I've written books and created fitness and martial arts programs that have found a worldwide audience. When I tell you, you need to get this book, such a phenomenal read. Such a good read. And this was, and I know some of you guys, you get sick of hearing me say this, but when I went to become monetized, like when I was, becoming monetized on YouTube, this was the book. This was the book that I kept on rereading. I kept on reading. In fact, this was the chapter that I kept rereading. This chapter right here. And I would mark down me rereading it. Okay. And I would have on my goal sheets, right? You guys know I write my goals down each and every day. I would have on my goal sheet, I need to read this chapter, because in a book it says read it for 21 days. And when I tell you to focus, okay, I was so focused, tunnel vision. And before I know it, I was monetized on YouTube. Okay. So when I tell you that there's things that you can do, okay, to change your life, but you have to focus on what you desire. You have to focus on, and it's evidence, right? Like, use your imagination. All the times that you succeeded, there were many times that you succeeded, okay? But for some reason, and I think because, we've been so focused on pay attention, it starts in school, pay attention, listen to me, and we focus on the outside world so much that we don't even use our higher faculties. One of the things my mentor Bob Proctor always talked about was, instead of going based upon your senses, right? Like smell, taste, touch, feel. Instead of going based upon that, how about you go based upon imagination? Your imagination works wonders. Okay. Imagination, perception. Okay. If you change the way you see things, things will begin to change. Oh, you will. Okay. You will. Intuition. Okay. Intuition. You gotta listen to their intuition when your intuition is speaking to you. Not so much when other people, what about your intuition? Because your intuition will tell you to go do something and you may be like, that don't even make sense. Your intuition may say, go to that store. And you may be like, nah, I'm not going there. That don't make sense. Your intuition may be like, give this person $10. And that may be your last $10. Will you do it? Will you listen to it? Okay, because there's a reason why it's telling you to do that. Okay, memory. Memory. They have books on memory. And remember this, what we don't use, we lose. And in this book, it also talks about memory as well, psycho-cybernetics. It talks about memory. Okay. So it has, instead of us going based upon what we can see, taste, touch, feel, smell, we have to start going based upon imagination, perception, will, reasoning, intuition. Okay, you got to go based upon that. Because when you're going based upon your imagination and perception, right, it's not like you are, it's like now you operating from the spiritual. You're not operating from the physical. Because the physical, what we can see with these eyes are very limited. And if you look at your circumstances and you're like, oh my goodness, like this, like I'm so sick of doing this and all this other stuff, because you're going based upon what you can see, what these eyes can see, which is very limited. Okay. Then you get so upset. And then you're going to relive that all over again. Remember, the universe goes by your emotions. Energy and motion. Those emotions that you put out. That's what the universe goes by. When you can look at your situation and say, you know what? I know that this is getting better. You know why? Because I'm doing something different than what I used to do. And I study every day. And you can say those things. And I mean, like, if you really do study every day, and if you really are doing something different, there's no other way but it to change, but your reality to change. Your emotions change. You studying every day, and the studying that's what's going to help you. Okay, because then you start seeing things a different way. Like this book. When I read about Prescott Lucky, okay, all them kids who failed, and then they was able to turn it around within a blink of an eye. Okay. When I read about Matt, okay, who felt like a failure and kept rubbing his face in manure of bad memories, when I read his story, it gives me inspiration, right? It makes me feel like, oh, it is possible. You can change your life. Because the truth of the matter is you really can. And you got to ask yourself this, are you willing? Because there's so many people that says they want to change their lives, but they really not willing to do it. They're not willing. They're not willing to get up and do something different. They're not willing, to study. Because, the famous thing, oh, they don't have time. They don't have time to study. Okay. But it's so funny that you make time for everything else, but you say you don't have time to study. And the thing that you make time for, is it bringing anything back in return? Are you getting something back in return? See, when I study this, I know my income is going up. I know my income is going up when I study, when I focus on personal development, when I'm aware, when I'm able to see, right? When that chatter in the mind is saying, you know what, Dina, don't go out today. You know, you did 3 videos yesterday. Just don't go out, right? And I look at that and I say, you know what, I'm going out today. Or when that chatter in the mind say, you know what, Dina, man, take a day off. You know, not today. Don't do it today. And I still show up. You know how many times this is my goal book. You know how many times I wrote my goals down and then I had to go back over them because I seen that it was like that chatter. It'll say, you know what? Don't do a video today. And I listen to the personal development. And the next minute I know I'm pumping out like 23 videos. Okay. I'm pumping out 15 videos. Because I'm so inspired. And so you have to ask yourself, are you willing to make the changes that you need to make in order for your life to change? Are you willing? Are you willing to be disciplined? Are you willing to sacrifice? And stop saying you don't have time, because you do have time. We all have 24 hours in a day. No one is getting 50 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours in a day. You have to be real with yourself. You're just not disciplined. That's it. Just be real with yourself. You just not disciplined. You're just not. And you just don't really want it. You kind of want it. You don't really want it because you're not willing to make a change. And sacrifice. You got to give up something of a lower nature in order for you to receive the thing that you truly desire. So if that means giving up hanging with your friends, hanging out with your friends every week and getting drunk, okay, to the point where so you can't remember things, and for you to study, you got to make that call. Do it means you not being on the phone all day gossiping about people, okay? Because you got time, because you have to study, because you want a better life for you and your family. You got to study. You got to be willing. And that's really what it is. Are you willing? You know, it's so many people who make excuses and say, oh, you know, these people are lucky, or these people, they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouths, and, you know, all these different excuses. There's more people that are self-made, okay, than what you keep on saying. And it's not that. It's not that. See, it's easier to say and make excuses and say, oh, these people grew up with a silver spoon in their mouths, right? Or these people, they had the hookup, they had the connection and all these other different things. No, it's not. It's not that. What they did was they changed their environment, okay? They started getting to know themselves, and it put them in certain environments. But you, on the other hand, you're not willing to do that because you're operating in fear, because you need to have all the answers before you get started. And that's why your life will never change, because the answers don't come to you all at once. I like to say it's like a trust thing. Okay. I give you a little bit to see how you're going to handle it or mishandle it. And let's see how that goes. And then I give you more. That's how I feel the universe is. It gives you crumbs to see, right? Let me see how well you do with this. Okay. And depending on how well you do with it, it gives you the next hint. But as long as you like, oh, I don't trust that. That don't make sense. You're going based upon logic. Oh, that don't make sense. Why would I do that? Nobody else ever did that. And there you are. No one else ever done it. Look at your circle. The people that you constantly hanging with today, are those people successful? Those are some of the questions you have to ask yourself. This circle that I am hanging with, are they successful? If they're not, you may need to get you another circle. And with that being said, lovelies, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Keep rocking out, believing in yourself, keep going, keep growing, and make sure you're showing up for you. And also understand that you are one of a kind, shapely divine. Okay? Until next time. Peace.